affected your entire life. I hope you're doing well, and I appreciate everybody for listening. I hope you have a great day. Hello, thank you for listening. This is the near-death experience of Teresa, and this experience occurred in 1963 and was documented on September 22nd of 2017, open quote. I am an army brat, and my parents were stationed in Germany. My father was away on a training mission, and my mother was a stay-at-home parent. We lived in military housing, which was an apartment building. The neighbor across the hall had asked my mom to babysit her baby, and she had dropped the baby and the baby's diaper bag off at the apartment. Unbeknownst to my mother, excuse me, the lady had poured 2 containers of orange-flavored baby aspirin into one container and then put the container in a small brown paper sack and tucked into the diaper bag. When my mom was in the kitchen fixing a bottle for the baby, I sneaked into the diaper bag and found the container of hidden aspirin. I ate them all. Needless to say, later, while watching cartoons, my eyes rolled back and I went into convulsions. My mother screamed for help, and I was transported to the hospital. The lady with the baby saw the aspirin was missing. She contacted the hospital to inform them of our arrival and about the missing aspirin. Too much time had passed, and the aspirin was already in my bloodstream. By the time we made it to the hospital, I was limp and lifeless in my mother's arms. The medical personnel rushed me into a room where they started trying to revive me. As they worked on me, I left my body and was watching from above. I could see and hear everything, but could not feel what they were doing to the body below. I can remember vividly watching with curiosity and interest. While watching the doctors and nurses working on the body below, I also remember being able to watch what was happening at the same time in the room they had taken my mom. I could feel my mother's hysteria and distraught as if her emotions were my own. I remember being overwhelmed with feelings of intense love for my mother. I had memories of a past life that I had shared before this one that involved both my mother and my sister. I also experienced a knowing of my mother's future through 2 separate scenarios. One, if I decided to leave this life, and one, if I decided to stay. The knowing felt like a gift being given, and even though I had a 3-year-old mentality, I was able to receive this information as if I was a mature person. I cannot relate how much time passed, but I remember making a decision. Once I did this, I felt myself pulled back into the body I had been watching below me. Immediately, I felt everything being done to me. Because this happened when I was 3, all the details other than the ones described is all I can remember. End quote. Wow. Teresa, isn't it amazing that this happened to you, that you can remember that you were 3 years old and you're making these decisions and having this understanding at 3 years old, and that you found all those aspirin so quickly. There are some questions here. Very interesting. Question, did you feel separated from your body? Answer, yes. Everything that was occurring in the location my body was, and also the location where they had taken my mom, I witnessed and heard. Rating your level of consciousness? Answer, I answered this question as more because of the knowledge, knowing, and understanding I received during the experience. And at what time were you at your highest level of consciousness? Question, at what time during your experience were you at your highest level of consciousness? Answer, I am unsure how to interpret this question, but I would have to say throughout my experience, I felt alert to all that was going on. My highest level of physical consciousness, if I were to take this question literally, would be when I returned to my body. My experience was vivid. Question, did time seem to speed up or slow down? Answer, I felt almost as if I split into two when I left my body because I was able to witness two locations at the same time, but can remember each in its own distinct way. Question, did you seem to enter some other unearthly world? Answer, while I was outside my body, I felt like I was in a different dimension, but still connected to the dimension I was witnessing. Question, what emotions did you feel during the experience? Answer, I felt the emotions mostly of my mother's distraught and also of her motherly love. Question, did you suddenly seem to understand everything? Answer, everything about myself and others. I had a more mature understanding of things, past, present, and future. Question, did scenes from your past come back to you? Answer, I remembered many past events. I became aware of other past lives. Question, did scenes from the future come to you? Answer, scenes from my personal future. I was shown that I would experience other trauma and tragedies, but also that there was a reason I would have to overcome and learn from these experiences. I was also shown times of accomplishment, purpose, and that there is a reason for everything. Question, did you come to a border or point of no return? Answer, my decision was based on emotions and a purpose of life that I witnessed and had an immense sense of knowing about. I felt a sense of importance and was reminded that I would recognize it once it occurred in the future. Question, did you seem to encounter a mystical being or presence or hear an unidentifiable voice? Answer, I had a sense of knowing whether or not that came from a voice I cannot say. I do feel like I was comforted and advised by someone more all-knowing than myself. Question, during your experience, did you gain information about pre-mortal existence? Answer, yes. I got to review certain important aspects of a past life that I shared with some of my other loved ones. I reviewed the death of my mother in the past life we shared before this life, that I personally was present with her when she died in that life. Question, during your experience, did you gain information about universal connection or oneness? Answer, yes. Being separated from my body and being able to witness all that was happening in multiple locations to me is a mystical connection. Question, during your experience, did you gain special knowledge or information about your purpose? Answer, yes. I can say from my experience, I had a knowing that my mother's future would have been greatly impacted by my demise. My sense of purpose was that my life was necessary for hers. I also had a knowing that I had an additional purpose in my future that impacted someone else's life. Question, during your experience, did you gain information about the meaning of life? Answer, yes. I received the knowing that each of us are of importance and that we all become aware of our purpose at different moments in our life. That life itself is a school to learn from, and each life we live, we evolve. Question, do you believe in an afterlife after your experience? Answer, an afterlife definitely exists. Yes, I was shown and had a knowing of past life plus future life, which for me validated a continuation of life, whether earthly or as energy in a different realm as we wait for the next life. Question, during your experience, did you gain information about life's difficulties, challenges, and hardships? Answer, yes. That's all of life's challenges have been chosen for a reason, and each event teaches us something we need to learn in order to evolve to the next lesson/life. For example, compassion is learned through life's hardships and or difficulties. Question, during your experience, did you gain information about love? Answer, yes. I believe love was the emotion that assisted me in making my decision to stay and live this life. Question. What life changes occurred in your life after your experience? Answer. Large changes. I have a different way of viewing things. I have great empathy for others and situations. I feel like I use a part of my brain that was stimulated during my experience that I may not have used otherwise. I believe in reincarnation and past lives, and I have psychic abilities, along with paranormal experiences that developed after the experience. Question. How accurately do you remember the experience in comparison to other life events that happened around the same time? Answer. I remember it more accurately because of my age. The event was very traumatic compared to any experience up to that date. Question. Do you have any psychic, non-ordinary, or other special gifts after your experience that you did not have before the experience? Answer. Yes. I have clairvoyant abilities, see spirits, and have what I describe as a hitchhiker attachment. I feel came back with me to this life when I was out of my body and in the other dimension. Wow. We just read a story of Juan who also describes the soul and coming back as another with something else, maybe another soul with him or as a different soul. Interesting that she describes this as a hitchhiker attachment. I don't know if I've heard that one before. Question. Are there one or several parts of your experience that are especially meaningful or significant to you? Answer. Yes. I chose to stay here in this life because of my mom, and my mom confirmed that she also did the same for me when she had a near-death experience before she passed 3 years later. Question. Have you ever shared this experience with others? Answer. Yes, with my family, and they were accepting of it. My mother and my sister both changed their spiritual outlook and beliefs more like my own were. Question. What do you believe about the reality of your experience shortly after it happened? Answer. It was real. Throughout my life, my experience has always been a contributing factor to how I live my life. Question. At any time in your life, has anything ever reproduced any part of the experience? Answer. Yes. When I turned 15, because of the overdose, I suffered another near-death experience as a result of prior damage done to my kidneys and urinary tract. End questions. End quote. Thank you, Teresa, for sharing your awesome experience with us, and I'm sure that it has impacted your entire life. I hope you're doing well, and I appreciate everybody for listening. I hope you have a great day.